impromptu. We're so grateful for Kristin Pittman for joining us. And I'm just going to read your bio and then let you add some more stuff about yourself, if that's okay. For over 20 years, Kristin Pittman has been a professional educator, teaching preschoolers and elementary and middle school students in both the private and public sectors. After discovering mindfulness, then creating a personal practice in 2016, Kristin decided to bring mindfulness practices to the children she taught and their families. I will personally note that my son was in her class when this happened in 2020, and it was really, really very helpful as we started the pandemic. We were really grateful for the social emotional foundation that you brought at the beginning of that for us. So she then went on to take courses through Mindful Schools, where she successfully acquired a K-5 and a middle high school curriculum. After completing the courses, driven by a passion for mindfulness and a desire to learn all that she could, Kristin began wellness coaching privately and teaching mindfulness in elementary school classrooms. Shortly after her career shift, she came across the Contentment Foundation's 4 Pillars of Wellbeing curriculum. Attaining more knowledge to support adults and children, she began her new role as a Rollout Representative for the Contentment Foundation. We're so excited that you're here, and we're really grateful for your ability to lead us through this. And I will just make one more plug that if anybody would like to join us for more public being part of our panel here, it would be really great. And just message me through the chat and I will add you. So take it away, Kristin. Thank you.
All right. Looks like there's one message there now. All right. Thank you so much, Heather. I'm going to actually share my screen and get started here. All right. Okay. All right. Just let me know. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. So today, first of all, I want to thank you, Heather, and PTA for having me here. Heather, in my bio said I've taught 20 years, and I think 16 of those years were in South Pasadena. So I grew up as a teacher in South Pasadena schools. So when I was asked to come on to share my new path, just warmed my heart. So I'm grateful. I'll do anything for South Pasadena schools. My daughter is still there. She's a 3rd grader in Miss Perry's class. So, and then I have a 6th grader at the middle school. So, the pandemic kind of created a lot. And one thing of which is our social emotional intelligence, our mental health. And so the big term nowadays is emotional intelligence. So we're going to kind of touch upon that. And I want you all to experience just having awakening your awareness, as my title is. So before I get started with my introduction and agenda, I'm going to ask for you to have a pencil and paper nearby. So if you don't have that, go ahead and grab one. And, again, this is an interactive because I want you to experience it. I want you to feel what we're going to go through. A lot of people are like, well, mindfulness, I'm not really mindful, but we are, right? And our children are extremely mindful. They're probably more mindful than we are. So tonight, I really want to pour some love into you, the parents, the community, the adults. So sit back and relax and take this in for yourself. Okay. All right. So again, I have a quick.
Can you give us 30 seconds to go grab a pencil and paper?
Yes, go ahead. 30 seconds for sure.
You mentioned a scavenger hunt. This is Calvin's own personal scavenger hunt.
Right. I changed that. It's a little less scavengery.
That's good. Calvin still brought it. It's good.
And those of you at home, I know right now you're probably doing dinner or putting your children to bed, and that's okay, right? We do what we can the way we can. So, but I do want you to know that there's some rich goodness in what I have to offer tonight. So if you are able to sit down for a moment, you deserve it. So, all right. Hi, Calvin. Okay, so we went over my bio, but again, I was a professional educator for 20 years. I stepped out of the classroom last year because my heart, my passion is to provide well-being. And now I do private wellness sessions with kids and adults. I also work with wellness teams through the Contentment Foundation, helping them roll out the social emotional learning program platform that the Contentment Foundation has. And I'm also a lead facilitator. So I take schools, I do PDs for schools, and I also take their wellness teams through well-being activities on top of helping them roll out so I have two roles, their curriculum. And again, I have two amazing daughters that are in the South Pass schools. So, okay, our agenda, we went through our introduction. Afterward, after I go through this agenda, I am going to take you through a mindful moment. And then we're going to do an energizer, and I changed the energizer. So it's not called treasure hunt. I forgot to fix that. It's called backstage pass. And then we're going to briefly talk about, I'm not going to lecture you too much tonight. I'm going to make you do stuff. We're going to have a focus activity. So we're going to talk about emotional intelligence in regards to the importance of self-awareness, right? And that's kind of in line and in harmony with mindfulness and mindfulness practices. Then we're going to do a self-awareness activity, and then we're going to, just reflect on some action steps or some learnings that we took, we received through this hour, and then what you can incorporate into your life. Okay. All right, so we're going to begin with a mindful moment. All right. Now, through emotional intelligence, when we can actually have the ability to calm our inner state, we can tap into parts of ourselves that we didn't even realize existed. I know this because it happened to me. I grew up, went through school, thought I was just an average student. As a teacher, I taught kindergarten for many years. And after 10 years of teaching kindergarten, I realized, my vocabulary isn't so good. So I just, my intelligence, I wasn't very confident or very kind to myself in regards to my intelligence. And then when I started doing mindfulness practices, I actually, like, my cognitive thinking, my critical thinking just opened up, and I was like, whoa, where did this come from? So I know throughout this pandemic, we've been really focused on the loss of learning, which it's okay to feel that way. But when we can actually become present, open up our emotional intelligence, that intelligence, as opposed to our academic intelligence, everything will come together. Okay, so I want you to experience this mindful moment, because this may be the first time in your day that you've been able to calm down and breathe. All right, so our breath is a tool that we have at all times. So let's get into a comfortable yet confident posture. All right, try your best to remove anything in your surroundings. Okay, any distractions. I know if you're in the middle of dinner, that's okay. Okay, just listen, and maybe later you can do this. All right, so first we're going to kind of stretch. And so I want you to take your right hand and place it on your left knee. And I want you to look over your left shoulder and just stretch your body. We keep our tension and anxiety and stress in our lower backs and our neck and our shoulders. Let's come back to center. And then we're going to take our left hand, place it on our right knee, look over our right shoulder, then bring ourselves back to center. And then we're going to do a few shoulder rolls back. Okay. Moving any of that stuck energy. And then we're going to move our shoulders, roll our shoulders forward. And one more final stretch, bringing your chin to your chest. And we're going to rotate our neck slowly to the right, gently. Okay, we're going to bring back to center, and then let's slowly roll our neck to the left. Bringing it back to center. Now settling in on our seats, hands in our laps, feet on the floor, and gently close your eyes or just gently gaze at the photo. And we'll begin taking a communal breath together in counts of 4. So let's begin with a deep inhale in through our nose, 2, 3, 4, pausing at the top, and gently exhaling out through our mouth, 2, 3, 4, pausing at the bottom. And let's take a second breath together, breathing deeply in through our nose, 2, 3, 4, pausing at the top, and gently exhaling out through our mouth, 2, 3, 4. And let's take a third and final communal breath together, breathing deeply again, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling out through your mouth, 2, 3, 4. Now let your breath rest naturally and normally in your body. Noticing the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you inhale and exhale. Allowing yourself to just be in this moment. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Now let's take one more big deep breath in through our nose. Hold it at the top and gently exhaling out through your mouth. Wiggling your fingers and toes and opening your eyes. All right. Let's check in with you. How did that feel? How are you feeling in this moment? So let's share it in the chat. What's one word, an emotion of what that experience? All right, let's see. I'm checking the chat. Calming. Yes. Thank you. What else? And remember, however you're feeling in this moment is exactly how you're meant to feel. So it doesn't matter if you don't feel calm, right? It's how you feel, focused and in the moment. Beautiful. All right. Relief, peaceful. Wow. Forgetting about the kids. Yes, right? You get your moment. You get to have time. That is so important. Less stressed. Wow. Look at that. Right? How long was our mindful moment? Like 3 minutes. And you created that feeling for yourself, right? I just let it. You are able to do it. I was just the the tool, the vessel right now. You're the one that allowed yourself to be in the moment. I didn't force you to do that. So remember that feeling, right? A simple, mindful practice, breathing practice, mindful moment can allow you to go from one feeling to another. So thank you all for sharing in the chat. Okay, so now, all right, let's see here. Now we're going to have a little fun, okay? So adults are allowed to have fun and have play. And that's a mindful moment too. Like instead of, we might not be wanting to take a breath, but stopping what we're doing, removing ourselves from our work or even our parenting for a moment. It's okay. And let's have fun. So this is called Backstage Pass. And right now, we're going to be aware of our space and we're going to share. We're going to share ourselves, right? Sometimes we have these facades that we put up because we think that we have to show up a certain way, but really you need to just show up exactly who you are, because who you are is enough. You are whole and complete, exactly who you are. And have you ever had that moment where you're talking with someone and they share something and you're like, oh my gosh, me too. And you have that instant connection because for that moment, you got to be real, right? So this is that moment. So what is in your space that is interesting about yourself right now? Are you wearing fuzzy slippers, right? Or do you have a stack of inspirational books that you're proud of because you read? Or is there a pile of laundry on your bed and you cannot go to bed until you fold it, right? What is behind the scenes at this moment? Okay. So I'm going to give you 1 minute and then Heather, Calvin, and Vicki, you're going to share, so you're going to show us, right? We're going to see this real part of you. I don't know, for some reason, this Energizer always makes me think I was a huge Friends fan. And so like Monica, she was like this very clean, organized person. But what did Monica have? She had a closet where all the crap was put in. Okay. So like real, this is real. But right now, what's in your space? Okay. And those of you that are listening from home, I want you to share it in the chat. Come on, give us something good. All right. So Calvin, Vicki, or Heather, who wants to? Oh, Calvin, you're going to go first.
These two books have been on my nightstand for years. And right now you can see the bookmark. I think I'm almost through this one, but this one, I'm just through the intro.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Calvin, I love that you shared that. What feeling comes about when you share that for us? Like, why was it those two items that you wanted to share?
I mean, I think it's like, like parenting, you're like kind of always like, I feel like I'm always behind. Like her progression and like my like, okay, in the beginning, I was ahead of her, like in the newborn and 1 or 2 years, I was like way ahead of her, right? Like I was reading way ahead of her and I was like, I knew you're going to do this. But then like once she got into elementary school, I was like way behind her.
Aww. You're talking about your daughter?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Yeah. So you're way behind her in the sense of how many books you read compared to her?
Compared to her progression. So like, I'm like reading books about like 2nd and 3rd grade and she's in 4th grade.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've got to keep this up right now.
I love it. How is everything going? Regardless of if you're behind or not.
Yeah, she's a great kid.
Okay. So guess what? You go find a book that interests you. Your daughter's going to be just fine. Don't worry so much. Does that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Calvin. How about you, Vicki? What do you have in your space?
Well, I am in my home office, and you can see in that corner, there's all the kids stuff. That's where I put my kids when I'm working, so I can keep an eye on them. And over here, actually, my son's been playing this Hungry Hungry Hippo game, which actually I love because it's such a stress reliever. You just keep on pushing, and then you see the hippo eating the balls. And I guess he likes it too. But anyway, this is on the office floor right now. This is currently what's right behind the scene right now at this moment.
I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this. I have to ask this question, Vicki. How often do you play that?
Well, as long as I can find the little red balls that actually goes in it.
Do you ever play it by yourself?
Half of the time they're gone. So,
do you ever play it by yourself?
I do, because, you know, you can do it. Well, I play with the kids, but I work 2 hippos.
I love it.
Using both hands. So.
You're awesome. Thank you for sharing, Vicki. Okay, Heather, your turn.
Well, I'm sitting in our 12-year-old's home office because when he went back to in-person learning, I realized that his space behind me is just always guaranteed to be kind of peaceful. And so I've been doing therapy sessions from here. And so, because I'm a therapist, like a few hours a week. And so this is just a guaranteed place where I can close the door behind me and just it's his artwork though. So there's something really grounding about it. And then on this side, before both kids were born, I did a soul collage for each of them before I knew who they were. Like, as I was it was like a thing that I did. So there's something about that I think just really kind of grounds me and puts me in the right headspace to also do therapy with other people, even though the rest of their room is like chaos, right? Like behind me is like order, and then it's like unmade beds and thousands of stuffed animals, and but I can kind of hold both places.
You have it all there.
I have it all right here.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. But I almost always have like a mug that I love, and they change depending on what my mood is each day. So this one is from a really good friend that she gave me for my birthday, and just kind of gives me a sense of connection.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for sharing. Right now in my space, I have a very needy dog. Oh, he just jumps on my lap whenever. Say hi to everyone. Sasuka. All right. Well, I thank you 3 panelists for sharing, and I guess everyone at home is maybe not surrounded by anything to share, but thank you for considering. Okay, so let's continue. All right. So emotional intelligence, right? And I just want to real briefly go over this. So when we think about emotional intelligence, there's 4 things for me that pop up, right? Are we able to recognize our emotions when they come up, right? Do we have that ability? Do we have the ability to regulate our emotions? Are we able to recognize and see the emotions of others? And are you able to express your emotions for effective outcomes and connection with others? Okay, so in a nutshell, we hear about emotional intelligence. I connect it with self-awareness, right? All that right there that I just went over is basically, are you self-aware? Are you self-aware and recognizing your emotions? Are you self-aware when you're able, when your emotions arise? Can you regulate them? Do you do the things you need to do so that you can step back and respond as opposed to react? And then I have some questions that really just consider the type of self-awareness that we have, and then moving forward to become more self-aware, which is in connection again with our emotional intelligence. So how regularly do you pause and take a moment to become aware of what is happening within your mind and body? What do you do when you experience a rise in an emotion? And then do you think to take a moment to breathe? All right, so that's all connected to self-awareness. Now, I know all of you that are listening are parents and elementary parents, school parents. And a lot of times, the thing that's on our mind are our kids, right? And are kids safe? Can I manage my kids? But tonight, like really, let's start thinking about our own inner world, right? Because how we are on the inside is how we show up on the outside, right? And something as I have practiced and become more self-aware, and I'm going to be honest, like there's times where my emotions get hijacked, but I'm able to step back and understand that. But with our kids, like when our kids have homework, right? Or maybe they're in a conflict with a sibling, do you check in with yourself and what's happening as you're trying to deal with the conflict or trying to help them with the homework, right? So when you're kind of have a rise in your emotions, it's going to come out in how you're interacting with your child, okay? So what I believe in is we need to have more self-awareness. We need to kind of reintroduce and get to know ourselves better. All right, so I'm going to do a little activity for you to kind of meet yourself again. All right, and you can do this daily. All right, this can be a mindfulness practice that you can do daily. So I'm going to take you to school a little bit here. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to think of 3 words that describe you. I want positive words, okay? I want really describe yourself. You are an amazing human being. You deserve to be, to express, have some self-compassion and to describe yourself in a beautiful way. All right. So I want you to think, and those of you at home, I want you to do this too, because I want this chat blowing up with your words. So I want you to think of 3 words that describe you. And I want you to choose one. Okay, and share that word in the chat. So I'll give you about 30 seconds. Awesome. All right, so someone on our chat said the word they chose to describe themselves, the one, is motivated. I love it. Helpful. Okay, Kelvin, Vicky, or Heather, do you want to share yours?
I wrote level-headed.
Level-headed. Awesome. Oh yeah.
Maybe without kids. When I'm away from my kids.
Connected is the one I landed on.
Connected. Yeah, I like that. How about you, Kelvin?
I picked doer.
Doer. Okay. We have in the chat, we have creative, helpful, hardworking, compassionate. I love it. Beautiful. All right. Now I want you to get that piece of paper out. Okay. So at the top, you're going to write, let me introduce you to and you're going to put your word, motivated person, a doer person. That don't correct my grammar. Okay. A connected person, a level-headed person, a helpful person, a creative person, a compassionate person. Those are all the words that were used in the chat. All right. And today we're going to tap in and get to know ourselves on a new level, right? So Heather's word connection, something that I've really become more aware of what I desire is a deep connection with others. So I have dove in deep to be connected with myself so that I could be deeply connected with others. Okay. After that, I want you to draw. Don't judge my outline because I'm not a drawer. That's a challenge of mine. And I want you to draw an outline of a shape. Okay. Just like the one. There's two there, but just one. On your paper below, let me introduce you to a compassionate person, a creative person, a lovable person. I want you to draw an outline of yourself. Okay, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to do that. This activity, I sometimes my mind surprises me, but I really love the show Ted Lasso. And the thing that I loved was how he deeply connected with people. And one of my favorite parts was when he went out to eat to the Indian food restaurant, and Ollie, the driver who drove him from the airport, his family owns at the restaurant. And Ted was there with Trent Krim, the independent journalist. And he's like, Ollie meet Trent, Trent meet Ollie. You two just met a cool person, right? So this activity, that was inspired me with this activity. Like, you're gonna meet a cool person tonight, yourself. Okay. And you're gonna believe that. We're gonna embody that. Okay, so you have your outline. Now around the outline, I want you to write what are all your gifts, all your strengths. Okay. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds, just being mindful of our time. Okay. So take 30 seconds and write all your gifts. So you'll put connected or creative, right? But more, what are your gifts? What are your strengths? What are your core values as a person? And as you're writing them, there's one that pops out to you. I know it. So circle it. Circle the one that pops out. I'll give you 10 more seconds. I know I could give you like 5 minutes and you could continue to write. Okay, so make sure you circle that one strength or gift that just pops out, okay? Now, I want you to think about your challenges. What are some of your challenges, right? One of my challenges is that for a long time was writing. So when I avoided writing emails or, writing letters or whatever. And I would sit there and then I'd get up. I would avoid it, right? So that was a challenge for me. Another challenge for me would be just standing in when I come up with an idea and it doesn't, another person, that my team that I'm working with doesn't agree with it, like not saying, oh, I'm not good enough, right? But no, I'm good enough. And if it's meant to be part of our process, then it will be part of the process. So what are your challenges? And as you're writing your challenges, there's one that's sticky, right? That keeps popping up in your life. Circle that one. All right, I'll give you about 10 more seconds, and within those 10 seconds, circle that challenge. All right. Oops, there we go. Okay, now let's share, right? So we're going to share the strength or gift that we circled. Okay, and then share the challenge you circled about yourself, the one challenge. Heather, I see you laughing. Okay, now in regards to your challenge, what is an action you can put in place to bring more awareness to your challenge, right? So our challenges are those things that maybe a lot of times we distract ourselves from, or we avoid, you know, or we just kind of pretend they're not there, but guess what? They're always going to come, right? And what happens is when we start putting some action to it, then they don't seem so challenging, right? And then can you look at your challenge? Let's see if we can change our perspective, our view of this challenge, right? Can you look at your challenge as a strength? So I shared earlier, like my challenge of writing, where I have a teammate and she's like, oh my gosh, I would never think that that was challenging, right? So what we think of ourselves as a challenge could actually be a strength of ours. It's just how we treat ourselves. All right. Now, those of you that are at home, go ahead, share in the chat your strength, your challenge, and then some thoughts if you'd like. All right. And my panelist here, anyone want to be put on the spotlight? I'm actually going to stop sharing so we can see you better. All right.
Well, I can go first.
Great.
So here's what I circled for the positive side is do what's right. So I felt that is often what drives me to do certain things. It's what I, deep down under believe what it's the right thing to do. And the challenges, the one that I circle is not staying ahead of deadlines. And I am more like procrastinating, I suppose. But I really need to, it has to be due the next minute, really, for me to do something about it. Because otherwise there's 10,000 other things piled up. And, but how else would you prioritize, right? So, so maybe it's a challenge, it's a strength, I'm not sure. So I wish I was way ahead of my deadlines all the time. I wish I had everything ready at all times, but unless there's 48 hours in a day, that's not going to happen. So yeah, that's my challenge.
Can I kind of Just like, did I just see your daughter come in and take the Hungry Hungry Hippo game?
No, she put it on the floor.
She's like, my game's famous. All right, now Vicky. Okay, so in this, one of my desires is, we learn to listen without the need to fix, right? So we listen to you. Now, I'm just going to ask a question in regards to, so you shared that, you wish you could be ahead of your deadlines. So the one question about, is there an action step that you can take to, well, my question actually is, when there's a deadline and what feeling arrives for you?
Well, so the stress, obviously, and that knowing that certain things have to be done by this certain time. So I think stress is the major feeling.
Okay.
And I think it's everything. It's everything in the house. And action plan, yeah, I could be preparing early. I could have the kids pack up their bags the night before. I could make sure the lunch is done the night before, but no, it's 5 minutes before we rush out the door. Yeah. We're that family that pulls out the driveway at 8:05, aiming for the 8:10 drop off. So,
and that's okay, right?
It's maximize the use of morning time, basically. So
yeah. So just just some thoughts, like, we can't get rid of stress, right? But when you realize that stress is there, can you have a different relationship to it? Right? You don't have to answer that now, but maybe if you want, that's an action you can put into place to help with that. Whatever. All right. Thank you, Vicky, for being so courageous and sharing that. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Heather or Kelvin, you want to share?
Heather? No?
Am I being voluntold, Calvin? Well, I was saying, I think I would relate to Vicky. Vicky and I should be friends, because I also really love I've perfected the art of procrastination. And it, I was laughing as you were giving the follow-up to the exercise, because the strength that I circled was curious. Because I just get really curious about people, about things, about whatever. And then the area of challenge that I circled is distractible. So I'm like, but I think that it's like squirrel. Oh, look, that's interesting. Let's take it. And so I've actually been really trying to I think, Vicky, to your point, like, if something feels right, like if the rightness feels very present to me, I'll do it immediately. Like knowing that Calvin shows up at 7:15 to set up for valet on the mornings that I'm working with Calvin, I'll show up. I try to beat him, because I don't want him to be alone. But it's impossible to beat him because he's there early. But there's a purpose or a sense of like connection, or like, I don't know, just importance that starts to drive me. And I've started to try to just go with it, I guess, and build in structure where I can. But I like the idea of kind of taking a breath and just checking in with myself and being like, is this a curious moment? And can you hold this curiosity for later? Like, can you just keep doing what you're doing? Get curious later.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You don't have to answer it. Are you ever curious about yourself?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm an only child, so I grew up curious about it. And my dad is an out loud thinker, as am I. So it's like,
But it sounds like you have that awareness. So you know when you're distracted.
Yeah. Right? And it's fun. So I just go with it. It's just,
Great.
it doesn't, I don't have enough motivation to always intervene if there are other, things. Got
it. Great. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Calvin?
I'm on the spot now.
Yeah. And, you can say no, thank you.
Okay. So like maybe this is way off from where their two were. So like, I think my strength is like, I'm really willing to do things to help other people. Mm-hmm. But then like the weaknesses, like I probably have more than that, more than two, is like 2 to 1. But like a few months ago, I was like reading something that maybe even I wrote or I was reading on the web, and I was like, oh, I'm an avoidance personality. I'm totally an avoidance personality. And the other thing, I'm gonna refer back. Oh, fear of failure, like from childhood. Like I avoid things that I think I won't be able to succeed in.
I don't think you're alone, Calvin. And I really appreciate the fact that you shared that, because I think that's something that's, I don't know, maybe even our like generational, right? That there was something, because I hear you completely on that. So you shared that one challenge, that fear of failure. And when that fear of failure comes in, what I heard you say was that you avoid doing it. Is there ever a time where you catch that fear of failure, but then just do it anyway?
Yeah, definitely in front of my daughter, because I'm aware of it at this point. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to dance to that song just to like demonstrate sort of.
Oh, thank you for sharing. I love that. I don't think you're a failure. I think you're amazing. And the fact that you're, to me, your strength is like you are someone who is selflessly serves others. And the way you've given to the PTA at Marengo is just incredible. So like that in that in itself, like that's what, like reintroduce yourself. Like, yeah, I'm a selfless person. I help whoever needs to be. I mean, we need more people like you. I think probably everyone on this call or whoever's watching, I think you all have that within you, right? We just don't take the time to like sit back and be like, oh yeah. And it's okay to feel that fear of failure, right? So thank you. We had a in the chat, someone, Lori said her strength was friendly, and her challenge is worrying, and then her action, exercise or meditation. Yeah. Sometimes we take our challenge and we think we have to attack it head on, but really getting in tune with ourselves, like meditation helps us really become more aware of our internal world. And so does exercise. So I just want to thank you all for sharing that. I have a slide that I'm going to share that I'm being really thoughtful of our time. I think we have about 8 more minutes. So here, I know sometimes we like to have some takeaways, but ideas to build self-awareness daily. So these are just some thoughts, right? You can take or leave them for what they are. So a morning breathing practice, 10 to 20 minutes. There's so much scientific research about the changing of your brain when you actually, do a breathing practice and or meditation. Set an alarm at least 3 times a day to do a check-in, right? Take a breath, pause, and see how you're feeling. Like when we can actually take the time to check in with ourselves, and say, oh my gosh, I'm not feeling so good, or I'm feeling like I'm a failure. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm sad right now. Allowing ourselves to feel that is okay. It's actually like, it's really healthy. All right. So, and remember, whatever emotion comes up for you in that moment, it's okay to feel whatever you feel, right? You get to choose. We have the power to choose whether we want to continue feeling that way and then let it come and go. Actually, neurologically, an emotion comes for 90 seconds and then it leaves, right? And when an emotion stays, it's our mind and body connection, like what our mind is doing at the time and what's it thinking about how we're feeling. Drink plenty of water, right? Like sometimes I have a friend who she like talks to her water and is like, okay, water, I'm going to fill you up with joy. And as she drinks it, she like imagines joy. Spend at least 10 minutes outside in nature. So if you work like me, I work from home. I take my dog. I make sure I go take my dog for a walk at lunch, get outside, do something. I mean, we live in Southern California. Whew, we're lucky we get to do that. Research shows that 75 minutes per week outside in nature supports your well-being. A gratitude practice, daily gratitude. I wake up every morning and I just slew off. Thank you. I'm glad to have this morning. I'm glad for the warm bed, the house. Either journal, write, or reflect quietly. And you can do this as a family at the dinner table. All right, 2 things we're grateful for in this moment right now. And then just listen and let everyone share. End your day journaling or reflecting on what went well today. Our society, our thoughts go to like, we have that moment of quieting down at night. And immediately what happens? Oh, I should have done this and I should have done that. And oh my gosh, what did this person mean when they said it this way? Change the script, right? Change that mental chatter. Sit and think about what went well today, right? Oh, I made the most amazing dinner. I had the best conversation with my friend. Go to bed with that final thought, okay? And then another idea is set an intention for your day as soon as you wake up, right? Oh, you have a big meeting. I'm going to show up the best way that I can, right? I'm going to have the most joyful day today, right? So when you set that intention, that's what's the first thing in your mind as you move forward in your day. And then another idea is daily I am affirmations. I know this sounds kind of silly. I am connected. I am love. I am enough. I am whole. You deserve to talk to yourself in the best way, right? The way you show up for others, you need to show up for yourself the same way. And when that happens, everything on the outside is going to change and transform. Your interaction with your children, your interaction with your partner, your family, your colleagues, your coworkers, your neighbors. So try it. I'm not telling you to instill all of this. One new action can make a difference. Okay. So, and that's my ending. What is one thing you learned today that you can take with you and incorporate into your life? All right. So share it. What is it? Before we go, what's our time? Yeah, we got 3 minutes. All right. So put it in the chat. What's one thing you learned today? Or something from what I shared popped into your mind, and share it with us. Okay.
I need to check in with myself more often.
Say that again.
I need to check in with myself more often.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like a day or two and like, oh, I was really angry like 2 days ago.
And you know what, Kelvin? We do that a lot, right? Another reminder that just reminded me, get rid of the past, right? It's this moment. You're not angry, right? Don't worry about the anger that you had, right? You get a chance to change that for that moment. All right. So have a more friendlier, you know how amazing you are?
You too. Did I ever tell you the story when you went to Calvary? No, did I?
No.
I was in Calvary preschool and you came over and we were so worried about going into elementary school, and you gave a talk about what happens in kindergarten. And it was like so calming. It's like, just kindergarten. It's gonna be okay.
Yes, it is. Was it okay?
It was awesome.
Absolutely right. Okay, so we have some, I'm reading in the chat. Small actions for self can go a long way. Absolutely. You were put on this earth to be you, right? And to be authentically you. So you deserve to feel the way we see you all, right? I am going to try morning breathing, setting a timer. These are great ideas. I look forward to putting in more practice. Awesome. Appreciate your own strengths. Yes. Reinforced the importance of stopping to do deep breathing. I always say the hardest part about doing deep breathing is remembering to do it. Oh yeah. So now, set an alarm, breathe. It is actually important to practice self-care. Yeah. Self-care is not selfish. It helps you to become more selfless. Be kind to ourselves and take care. Yeah. And you know what? Parents out there, guess what? If you practice it, you're going to model it for your children. If they see you doing it, they're going to do it. And their world is going to change because you're putting it into practice. All right. How about you, Heather? You want to share?
Yeah, I think just that, I always forget just what a short period of time it takes to just settle, to just having the wherewithal that once I have the awareness, just take a moment.
Yeah.
Get in my body. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be here to do something I really, truly am passionate about and love. So
thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, Kristin.
We will work on getting the recording so you can share it with your friends so everybody can experience a little bit of this.
Yes. I look forward to seeing you all and, pick up in front of the school.
Yeah. Maybe do this so that we know what you look like with your mask. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Oh, that's what.
Usually I don't wear my glasses.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll be that car pulling up at 8:11.
Yeah, okay. That's great. That's great. Vicki, Calvin, thank you so much for being brave and joining the panelists. It's great.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.